Hello, I'm Mike Gibson and you're watching the programme Capital Ideas Life. As you know, Moscow is the largest and most multi-ethnic city in Russia. Christians, Muslims, Jews and Buddhists have for several centuries been living here side by side in peace and harmony. In this programme we're going to tell you about how the world's main faiths are represented here in Moscow. In today's episode, the Church of the Holy Martyr Tatiana not only hosting worship services but also lectures. The Moscow Cathedral Mosque, the main place of worship for Muslims in Russia. Little Israel in the centre of Moscow. Construction of the first Buddhist temple in the capital. In 1773, Empress Catherine II signed a decree on religious tolerance. Ever since, Russia has had the legislatively established freedom of religion. Today, the right to freedom of religion is stipulated in the Constitution of the Russian Federation. As the centre of the country, Moscow has become home to representatives of different nationalities and faiths. The Russian capital has many architecturally unique religious buildings. One of these is the Catholic Cathedral of Immaculate Conception of the Holy Virgin. Another is Europe's largest cathedral mosque. The capital also houses the Moscow Jewish Community Centre and synagogues. Amongst these buildings are Armenian, Georgian and Protestant churches. There are a number of other types of churches also. Despite all this diversity, Moscow remains the centre of Orthodox Christianity. In Moscow there are almost 600 Orthodox churches. This one is the house church of Saint Tatiana, the patron saint of students. It is interesting that in addition to regular services, this church also has educational and cultural events. Let's go and have a look inside. The Church of the Holy Martyr Tatiana is one of the oldest in the capital. It is 200 years old and situated in the very heart of the city. Located close to the Kremlin, it's in the old building of the Moscow University.
It was commonplace for one of the rooms in a palace to serve as a church. This church is one such example. Moreover, in Orthodox churches, the altar and the iconostasis must face exactly toward the east. And east is this way. So, at our church, they don't face eastwards. It has been shifted out of place, and this explains why it is so unusual.
During Soviet times, the building housed the theatre of the Moscow University. At the end of the 1990s, it was given back to the Russian Orthodox Church. Worship services then resumed. The church can fit over 250 people. In addition to services, it holds secular cultural events. Archpriest Vladimir says that it is thanks to such eventful life that the church has already established its congregation.
We offer this space for public lectures by professors of the Moscow University. There are many intellectuals among our parishioners. This explains why the topics of the lectures are so diverse. They cover cinema, literature, philosophy, and theology.
Apart from services and lectures by professors of the Moscow University, the church has a Sunday school, an English club, and a music school. It publishes its own editions sold in the bookstore. Also, it has an online journal called Tatiana's Day.
We've got a community of active parishioners called Tatiana's Creative Association. It organizes regular meetings with interesting speakers, as well as lectures and master classes. For example, now there's an exhibition at our church. Of course, we try to connect what we exhibit with the venue. Let's not forget that this is a church, and the venue relates to the church. So we can't exhibit blatantly insipid items. We exhibit features that are related to church, orthodoxy, and faith. These are not necessarily religious items, but they shouldn't contradict Christianity.
The church has a website where you can check the schedule of all church services. You can also learn about the history of the church and view the details concerning cultural and charity events. The second largest religion, both in Russia and in its capital, is Islam. The symbolic center of Islam in the city is the Moscow Cathedral Mosque. It was built on the site of the ancient mosque erected during the reign of Emperor Nicholas II. The religious board of Muslims in Russia proposed a large-scale reconstruction. The initiative was supported by the Moscow mayor's office. They helped with the implementation of the construction project. The building, with an area of almost 19,000 square meters, was erected in a very short time, a mere 4 years. This Moscow Cathedral Mosque is one of the biggest in Russia. It can accommodate 10,000 people at the same time. During the main Muslim festivals, Kurban Bayram and Uraza Bayram, several 100,000 parishioners come here. As the mosque can only fit a small fraction of them, most people pray on the adjacent streets.
Количество мусульман в Москве крайне большое.
The number of Muslims in Moscow is very large. According to conservative estimates, it is between 2 and 3 million people. From 450 to 500,000 people attend the Kurban Bayram and Uraza Bayram festivals. But they have children and relatives who are afraid to go to the mosque. There aren't enough mosques in Moscow. More mosques should be built. The Moscow mayor's office understands our needs and gives us financial support and additional space for the festivals.
Оказывается и финансовая поддержка по организации праздника. Мы видим, какие огромные преобразования.
Huge transformations have taken place recently. Let's take the halal chain of restaurants as an example.
Это же уму непостижимо. Огромная сеть во многих.
It's a huge network of restaurants, and they are open both in dormitory suburbs and in central parts of the city. Its employees are Tajiks, Uzbeks, and Kyrgyz. Recently, the president stated that Moscow and Russia need migrant workers. The country's leadership believes that Russia cannot implement its development plans without them.
During the coronavirus pandemic, the mosque was closed. However, the services were broadcast on the mosque's website and in its YouTube channel 24/7. The employees of the mosque also organized support for people in need.
Social support is the foundation of religion. Religion is of no use if it doesn't serve the interests of society. Social support is not limited to a single task. During the Kurban Bayram and Uraza Bayram festivals, additional rituals are aimed at promoting generosity. But you must always start the day with sadaqah. It cannot only be expressed in the form of financial help. If you go to your son or daughter and pat them on the head, this is already sadaqah. Your smile to your friend or to a stranger, this is also sadaqah. If you're on your way to work and you say hello to your neighbor in your building, this is also sadaqah. Any kind of help counts. Imagine you're passing by a beggar, but you have no money to give them. In your heart, you ask God to make sure that those who have money will help this beggar. This is also an expression of sadaqah. This is our teaching. Social support comes first. This is the heart of our religion.
The mosque also houses the Museum of Islam. It preserves rare editions of the Quran. This one was made more than a century ago at the Emperor's Palace, and this Quran is written on 165 silver sheets.
Here we see how this mosque looks now and what makes it special. Its design is unique. It doesn't look like any other mosque in the world. At the same time, it has basic elements of both Muslim and Russian sacral architecture. For example, the golden dome in the middle of the entire structure. The purpose of this gilding is to remind us that we are in golden domed Moscow. It's with good reason that there are two minarets on both sides of the dome. The design is well thought out. It combines the design of the Spasskaya Tower of the Moscow Kremlin and the Syumbike Tower of the Kazan Kremlin, the iconic building in Tatarstan.
The Moscow Cathedral Mosque is the tallest and most spacious in Europe. It has 6 floors with prayer halls. The height of the minarets is 79 meters. In the course of the new building's construction, the old mosque was preserved. This mosque dates back to 1904. Today, it is the heart of the new mosque.
The most amazing element of our mosque is its dome. This is an element of ancient architecture. It's believed that all other elements, such as arches and windows, are secondary. In fact, it is the dome that unites them into a single architectural ensemble. Words are inscribed in the center of the dome, where the chandelier is mounted. The words read, "In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful." These are the words with which Muslims begin any good deed.
On the black stripes, extracts from the Quran are written. Black and light stripes alternate like day and night. Nobody knows with which one the artist started, the black or the light one, just as nobody knows what came first, day or night.
Moscow has always been considered a multicultural center. It is a multinational city with no restrictions for any nationality. In terms of its human resource potential, this is one of the city's strengths. Such national diversity ensures an influx of skilled talent to the city. This enables the forming of highly efficient professional teams across all industries. This includes construction, education, healthcare, and research and development. Our department always participates in and supports international events. In fact, there's a huge number of examples. I think tolerance is the key contributor to Moscow's stability and tranquility.
According to the latest population census, there are over 50,000 Jewish people living in Moscow. There are 20,000 Jewish communities, as well as many synagogues and kosher shops. There are also boarding schools, a medical center, and a museum in Moscow. This is just a small part of the Jewish world in the Russian capital. How do Jewish people live in Moscow? Check it out in our next story. It's fair to say that there's a little Israel in the northeast of Moscow. It's a whole area where people live and work. This is where Jewish life is concentrated. Firstly, situated here is the main administrative building of the Moscow Jewish Community Center and a synagogue. The building nearby houses the Federation of Jewish Communities of Russia. Secondly, dormitories, schools, the whole infrastructure are in this neighborhood. In addition, cultural institutions can be found here too. This building, which is an architectural monument called Bakhmitov Garage, houses the Jewish Museum and the Tolerance Center. It is one of the largest of these establishments in the world. Its exhibits tell visitors about Jewish culture and religious traditions. They also detail the Jewish people's history of life and resettlement. For more than 8 years, it has been one of the main cultural venues in the Russian capital. We managed to get inside on the first day after the lifting of Moscow's coronavirus lockdown.
The exposition tells the story of Jews in Russia from the time of Ekaterina the Great till our days. But we like to say that it tells the story of Russia through the eyes of one of its nations.
It's very interesting.
And what this nation had a role and what part it had in the whole history. It's very multimedia. The idea was to interact with the visitor, to attract the visitor, and to kind of evoke some feelings, some emotions that still expositions could not do. We have a small collection, very nice collections of artifacts from Jewish culture and Jewish religion, religious objects, art. We have a major archive on the history of Jews in Russia, and it's also partly presented in the exposition.
The museum renews its temporary exhibitions regularly. The works for these exhibitions are bought from all across Russia and the world. What I really like here is the new exhibition, Unknown Berlin, which has just opened at the end of quarantine. It shows a collection of photographs of Berlin taken during the summer of 1945, which have never been seen before. It is unique and really interesting. Apart from the museum, the building also houses the Tolerance Center. This is a venue where training programs, workshops, masterclasses, and educational programs are held.
It's also kind of a special department in our institution that develops special programs for school children and institute students working with xenophobia and racism. There's special kind of educational masterclasses, programs, camps to work on these difficult topics.
Right.
And me, as a director of public programs, I use this name to create programs on historical roots of those things terrible, to tell the story of other cultures and other religions. And the question why it's here in Jewish Museum doesn't raise, because we're also Center of Tolerance, and we want to tell about friendship and how it's beautiful to live in a world.
The building nearby houses the medical center of the Federation of Jewish Communities in Russia. It has been operating in the capital for 15 years. Over this time, a small institution with 6 offices has evolved into a multidisciplinary medical center. Both adults and children can have a comprehensive health checkup. The center has its own pediatric department.
You know, when this center was under construction, this was 15 years ago, it was only intended for the Jewish community. It was a small, free-of-charge center with 6 offices. Today, we are big. We have 54 offices and 200 to 300 patients each day. In fact, we've come a long way from a small chamber center to a large, high-quality medical institution. We offer our services to everybody, not only to the Jewish community. The Jewish community accounts for 15 to 20% of our visitors. Obviously, during the pandemic, we tried to reduce the flow of patients. We provided our services to the elderly, either at their homes or by offering telephone consultations.
Interesting, I've noticed that you have your own dentistry department.
We've got dentistry, gynecology, and cardiology departments. Our center offers a full range of standard medical services. We have highly qualified doctors. We have a stable team. I think we can be proud of our low staff turnover rate. It is 4% per year. This is very low. Our team was put in place a long time ago. Our employees are kind, good-natured people who are good specialists.
Nearby is the Moscow Jewish Community Center, which is also the largest in Europe. It houses one of Moscow's main synagogues.
It's the center of Jewish
The center of Jewish life.
The main point on the map. Actually, now we are in community center, Jewish community center. This floor is synagogue.
Right.
There are just prayers, learning of Torah here.
Right.
But there are 7 floors in this building. There are a lot of interesting lessons for children,
Right.
for old people. You can come and learn Hebrew, Jewish history.
How do the Jewish people of Moscow celebrate Shabbat?
The main prayer prays here. Right? A lot of people, I think 700 people are coming every Shabbat just in this hall.
Right.
It's a public prayer, everybody singing, dancing together. It's a great spiritual experience
Right.
for us.
Do you have any pastoral work? By that I mean, do you go out into the community?
The Jewish community is an example how the volunteers need to work. I think that every old man in Moscow, every Jewish old man or woman in Moscow takes care from Jewish community. Jewish community cares for them and bring food.
Right.
Food, and also them have nurse
Right.
if they need a nurse. Now in the time of pandemic, every old man and women got a big pocket of food, beef, fish, chicken, everything what you need, kasha.
That's great.
Yeah, and we also visit the young people to learn with them, to speak about religion, about the tradition.
There are about 100 rabbis in the Moscow Jewish Community Center. During the main festivals, the synagogue fits up to 4,000 people. In the same neighborhood where there is a high concentration of Jewish people in Moscow, you can find a kosher store, the main one in town. It sells kosher meat, matzah, and hummus. Many of these products are made in Russia. Some of it is supplied from Israel. We are open to everybody, anytime, regardless of one's community, membership, or faith. This is the Pagoda Paradise in Moscow with a prayer drum. Buddhists say that this shrine brings well-being and happiness. The prayer drum can be rotated by hand. It's believed that each rotation brings peace and quiet to the hearts of people and pacifies evil spirits and demons. Soon they'll build the first Moscow Buddhist temple near to this pagoda. The Moscow Buddhist community is building a temple in the Russian capital. It has found a site for its holy shrine, received approval from the Dalai Lama himself, and launched a fundraising campaign. The construction is solely carried out through donations from parishioners. The Enlightenment Stupa, which can be compared with the Christian chapel, and the prayer wheel are already here.
Moscow is the capital of the whole Russian Federation, where all nationalities live, including people from Buryatia, Kalmykia, Tuva. All of them profess Buddhism. We decided to build a temple because there are many Buddhists in Russia. Everyone needed it. In 2002, we received a plot of land in Otradnaya on a free-of-charge basis. We only pay a symbolic rental. In 2017, we finished the 15-meter-high stupa. Of course, all Buddhists in Moscow participated in the project, and we built it for all of them.
The projected area of the big temple is more than 3,000 square meters. In addition to religious rituals and festivals, it will serve as a venue for lectures and cultural events. Meanwhile, a small temple is under construction. To ensure that it is finished successfully, the community invited 4 lamas from Tibet. At the major Buddhist festival, they read a prayer and give a blessing to the site.
In Buddhism, there's the so-called Triple Festival. On this day, people celebrate 3 events: Buddha's birthday, the turning of the wheel of Dharma, and Buddha reaching nirvana. As these festivals are very important, the organizers invited us here for spiritual practices. We do chanting, praising Buddha Shakyamuni. We also read various prayers, wishing this site and all other sites well. This is in order to protect them from obstacles and from harm. We are hopeful, and we pray to ensure favorable conditions for the construction and further functioning of this temple.
So far, this is the only place in the capital where Buddhists can go to worship.
In Moscow, in Russia, mainly Buddhists are following Tibetan Mahayana Buddhism. And apart from that, there are so many other Buddhist communities from Thailand, from Sri Lanka, very few people, but some from India. And all are here, and all are gathering here together. That is the most important thing, no matter what the type of Buddhism they are following, but they come over here. And this is the only place where we have a temple. Last 10-15 years, if earlier stages, most of people are from 3 Soviet republics, from Kalmykia, from Tuva and Buryatia. But now There are many followers, and most of them, I feel that they consider Buddhism as a philosophy than a religion.
According to the Russian Buddhist Association, there are now about 100,000 followers of this teaching in Moscow. There are, however, several Buddhist centers and communities, as well as Buddhist stores, and soon a temple will appear that will unite all believers. As you can see, it doesn't matter what faith you profess, or even if you don't believe at all. In Moscow, large and small churches of all religions are open to everyone. My name is Mike Gibson. You're watching the program Capital Ideas Life. See you in a week.